So, hello. This is a video response to Sergeant Willie Pete. And before I get into my response, I just want to read you a quote by Trudier Harris from her book, From Mammies to Militants. And she says the following. Called matriarch, emasculator, and hot mama, sometimes sister, pretty baby, auntie, mammy, and girl, called unwed mother, welfare recipient, and inner city consumer. The black American woman has had to admit that while nobody knew the trouble she saw, everybody, his brother and his dog, felt qualified to explain her, even to herself. Now, that quote is to give frame to my post, and hopefully try to get at some real issues. Now, I find that in some of these posts I've been watching about black men and black women, that quote rings true. Like, you have black men talking about black women, even in defense of black women. That doesn't give any real honest reality to the lives of black women, as well as black men criticizing black women without any real talk about the realities of black women. A lot of times these conversations are very superficial, and they don't really get at the heart of anything. They just trade on these stereotypical images of women as if they are real currency that is being used in the lives of women. And so I wanted to just say that I think we have to think a little deeper about these problems than what you kind of find so far on YouTube, or at least what I found on YouTube. And so these images of black women I find to be very disturbing. Now, one of the things I read in the comment section of Sergeant Willie Pete's video that really evoked a visceral response in me was the comment that went something like, well, black women just need to keep their legs closed. And as if this is going to resolve many of the problems in the black community. The reason why I had such a visceral response to this comment, not because I've never heard it before or it's somehow novel, but rather the image that it evokes, right? And it evokes an image of ignorance. So not only is a black woman to keep the world or the outside ignorant to her sexuality, but she is to keep herself ignorant to her sexuality, as if black women shouldn't be aware of their sexuality or their sexual organs or reproductive processes, as if the root of evil or the root of all the problems lie in women's sexuality. And it completely ignores any political or economic inequalities that affect black mothers and children. So it seems to be kind of a red herring, in a sense, that it kind of draws your attention away from other important aspects of the life of a black woman. But also, it's a power dynamic where one can then say, well, look, I can assume that black poverty is passed on intergenerationally via the values that are transmitted into families, and this same thing is a standpoint where it says, well, these same values are not being transmitted to white middle class children. So then again, so clearly the problem isn't certain inequalities between whites and blacks, but rather the bad values that are inherent in the sexuality of black women. And so you have basically two bad images of black sexuality. And that's the one, that one is the matriarch, where the black woman is overly aggressive, has a huge attitude. She is the sole motivator in the family, and it is at her feet all successes and failures in the black community fall. And that juxtaposed to the idea of the black whore or the welfare mother, where the woman is not aggressive enough, where she has no control over her sexuality, that she's, you know, whereas the matriarch was emasculating men to the point where it's understandable that they leave, to where with the black whore, no wonder black men come to her in troves, right? They're dying to get between her legs, and she's more than willing and open to allow them to have full access to it, because she is just a sexual creature without reason and sense, and she's like an animal popping out litters of babies. So in comparison to these two images, you have then the black mammy, who is supposed to be the epitome of black womanhood. And this woman is asexual. She is non-feminine and non-threatening in every sense of the word, because she has totally, she's totally given over her autonomy, her sense of self and self-worth over to someone else. Because it seems as if, well, black women don't have anything to offer beyond their sexuality, beyond the rearing of children. The only, she has nothing to offer with her intellect, with her sense of morality, with her sense of self-worth, with her sense of self-value, because all her value lies in the body alone. And so I kind of find that image really, really disturbing. Now, Sergeant Willie P. also talked about double standard, and the usual double standard. Why can men have sex and women can't? And I think what's more interesting double standard is this idea that black women are the arbitrator of morality in the black community, as if men have nothing to offer in way of value. So black men are free in a sense of any commitment to the community or to women sexually, but they're also free from instilling any values, because let's face it, they're sexual creatures. They just chase sex. And is that really a value we want to instill in children? So what I'm trying to point to is there's another double standard that seems to be ignored, and that standard is that men have nothing of moral or intellectual value to offer to the black family. The only thing a black man has to offer to the black family is economic stability, and if he doesn't have a job or an education, he's really no use, because the black woman has to go out and get her education and get a job, and therefore she'll provide, because she's the one who provides that, not black men. I think that's a double standard. I think men should be insulted that they are not expected to bring those kinds of aspects to the table. And it's clearly true that it's clearly not the case that men don't. Men bring value to the black community. They do instill values of intellect and compassion when they are good, or when they are really aware of what they have to offer. So a lot of times black men don't feel like they have anything to offer. So my time is about to end, so I'm going to stop there. Hopefully, this can raise some rational conversation and not just hate. So I'll leave off there. Peace.